Okay. All right, everybody. We had a request from Barbara to do meditation on emptiness this morning, so that's what we're doing. So this one in particular comes from the How to Meditate from Venerable Sangye Kadra and Venerable Rabina. So settle back, relax. It's an analytical meditation. So when your mind starts to wander away from the subject, which it might and most likely will, don't worry about it too much. You can always just come back to the breath because it's something that we always do. It's our anchor. This is why I like to use that as an anchor for meditation, because you're always doing it and it's there, it's physical, you can feel it. So let's just settle into our meditation posture. Okay. So just check your feet, your sits bones, shoulders are aligned with the hips, and really just imagine your spine is lengthening. Head is very slightly tipped forward. So try not to have it too far forward, and definitely try to avoid having your chin up in the air, because that puts a little bit of tension in the back of the neck and creates agitation. And just relax from the crown of the head all the way down through the face, back of the head, the jaw, back of the neck, the throat, the chest, the belly, your back, and all of your limbs. And then go back and check you haven't slumped. And bring the mind to the breath, just noticing the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. And check for any sounds in your environment. Just allow those sounds to be there. Try not to follow with your mind. And then come back and just notice the thoughts, your thoughts, as they're arising. Just try and put some space in between them. Trying not to judge or have an opinion. And just be like an objective observer. Just being aware of what's in the mind, noticing it. And as we put ourselves on the bank of our river, just watch it flow by. That river changes from day to day, just like our mind. And while you're sitting on the bank, you're free from that river. And bring to mind your loved ones, the ones you don't care about so much, and then your strangers, remembering they can change place at any time. Maybe they have. However, they're all equal. Everybody is equal. Every sentient being is equal in their wish to be happy. Even the tiniest ant doesn't like to be squashed. Their wish to be free from suffering. And in having this capacity for enlightened mind. So the goal is, in the process of developing bodhicitta, we have to start with equanimity. We have to learn to respect ourselves and others before we can even start to think about compassion, bodhicitta. And it won't happen all at once. A little bit of this, a little bit of going backwards, a little bit of going forwards, a little bit more education. It all takes time. So any progress that you've made in that direction, really try and pat yourself on the back. Rejoice. So bring the mind to the breath. Just notice the air flowing in and flowing out. Just think we'll do this meditation on emptiness for the benefit of all these people of our life, for all sentient beings and for ourselves as we're moving along our spiritual path. Emptiness in Buddhism means the emptiness of inherent concrete existence. All things are said to be empty of a quality that we just instinctively project onto every person and everything in existence. We see things as fully, solidly existing in and of themselves, from their own side, own nature, quite independent of causes and conditions. So take a table, for example. We see a solid, independent table standing there, and it's so obviously a table, it's just ridiculous to question it. But where is that table? So you order a table from IKEA. It comes in a box. Is that your table? Actually, it's a potential table, but you take everything and you imagine taking it, pulling it apart, taking all the plastic bits out, pulling it out of all its wrappers, and you lay all the pieces on the ground as they show you in the diagram. And now see if you can find the table. Is it the legs, the top, the screws, the bolts? Or is it even one of those little atoms that make up the material? So if you look thoroughly, you will discover you simply cannot find the table you think is there. It doesn't mean there's no table. There is a dependently existing, changing from moment to moment table that we merely label onto its parts. But this is not what we see. We experience not the bare reality of each thing and each person, but an exaggerated, filled out image of it projected by our own mind. And then it starts with ourselves. We have this adherence to a false I And that's known as self-grasping or ignorance. And it taints all of our dealings with the world. We tend to be attracted to people and places and situations that kind of uphold our self-image, and we don't like it to be threatened. We have this opinions about people of being definitely this way or that. And our delusions coming from our self-grasping branch out into things like attachment and jealousy and anger and arrogance and depression and all these other unhappy states of mind. The final solution is to try and eliminate this ignorance. Then we can transform our mind. It's pretty abstract for us to think about emptiness, but it's very practical. It's really relevant to our lives. So the first step towards understanding it is to try and get an idea of what it is we think exists. To locate, for example, the I that we believe in so strongly, and then by using clear reasoning and analytical meditation, see that it's a mere fabrication, something that never existed in the first place. But don't throw out too much, because we do exist. There's a conventional independent self that experiences happiness and suffering, that works and studies and eats, sleeps and meditates, and becomes enlightened. The most difficult thing for us is to somehow try and distinguish between this valid I and the fabricated one. Usually we can't tell them apart. In the concentration and meditation, it's possible to see the difference, to recognize the illusory I, and eradicate our long habituated belief in it. So the meditation here it's a practical first step in that direction. So bringing the mind back to the breath again. You can always come back here. Put yourself in the mind of a spy. You need to be alert. Slowly and carefully become aware of the I. Who or what is it that thinks, feels, and meditates? How does it appear to you? Is your I a creation of your mind, or is it something that exists concretely and independently in its own right? Now, try and locate it. Where is this I? Is it in your head? Your eyes? In your heart? in your hands, in your stomach, in your feet. Carefully consider each part of your body, including the organs, blood vessels, and nerves. Can you find your eye? It might be very small and subtle, so consider at a cellular level. If you do think that your eye is a part of the body, then what would happen if that part were removed in an operation or damaged? And then what happens to the eye when your body ceases to function at the time of death? Now, perhaps you think your mind is the eye. The mind is a constantly changing stream of thoughts, feelings, and other experiences just coming and going, rapidly coming and going, coming and going. It's never the same from one moment to the next. So, what's the I? Is it a loving thought, an angry thought, a depressed thought, happy thought, feeling? So if you think that is the case, then what happens when that kind of experience is not present in your mind, when you're no longer angry? So if I is love, for example, and when your mind is filled only with anger, does the I go somewhere else? Is there no I at the time? Or maybe there's many I's. Perhaps you have an eye for anger, an eye for happiness. So if you can't find the I in your body or in your mind, could it possibly be something else? Is there some extra part of you other than your body and mind? We say my body, my mind, implying the existence of something else that owns these two. So if so, what is that? Where is it found? What kind of phenomena is it? Examine every possibility you can think of. So again, take another look at the way your I actually appears and how it feels to you. And after this search for the I, do you notice any change? Do you still believe that it is solid and real as you felt before? Does it still feel independent? So now imagine your body is disintegrating. And imagine all of the atoms separating and floating apart. You're disintegrating your body, and billions of minute particles of your body scatter throughout space. And imagine that you can actually see this. And now your mind, disintegrate your mind and let every thought and feeling and sensation and perception float away. Then check your feeling of I. Where is it? What is it? So don't go to nihilism, where we might think my body is not the I and my mind is not the I, therefore I don't exist. You do exist, but not in the way you instinctively feel as something independent and inherent. Conventionally, your self exists in dependence upon mind and body, and this combination is the basis to which conceptual thinking ascribes a name, I or self. Hin or Barbara. This is the you that is sitting and meditating and wondering, do I exist? Whatever exists is necessarily dependent upon causes and conditions or parts and names. So we can go back to our IKEA table. It's a collection of parts, wood, screws, little metal bits. And we give it the name table to this collection of things. But if we look for a real, concrete, independently existing table, it cannot be found. So conventionally, things exist dependently. And understanding dependence is the principal cause, or understanding their ultimate nature, emptiness. The conventional nature of an object is its dependence upon other things. And its ultimate nature is its emptiness of inherent independent existence. So think now about how your body exists conventionally in dependence upon skin, blood, bones, legs, arms, organs, and so forth. And in turn, each of these exists in dependence upon their own parts, their cells. And everything has to be working in order for you to be healthy. Everything has to work together for you to be able to function. So think about how your mind and how it exists in dependence upon thoughts and feelings, perceptions and sensations, and how in turn each of these exists in dependence upon the previous conscious experiences that gave rise to it. Your thoughts don't just pop out of nowhere. Now go back to your feeling of self or I and think about how you exist conventionally in dependence upon mind and body and name, the self's parts. When the body feels hungry or cold, for example, you think, I am hungry, I am cold. When the mind has an idea about something, you say, I think. When you feel love for someone, you say, I love you. When you introduce yourself to someone, you say, I am so-and-so. Apart from this sense of I that depends upon the ever-flowing, ever-changing streams of body and mind, is there an I that is solid, unchanging, and independent? The mere absence of such an inherently existing I is the emptiness of the self. So if you did have any tiny, even tiny insights today, just dedicate any of that positive, creative energy to yourself and to all sentient beings. If you did have any insight, you can go back and just try and solidify anything you've understood. Meditate on it over and over again till it comes a little bit more real. And it can take years understanding these things. So just rejoice. Lots of love. Have a wonderful day. And I will see some of you this evening. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for hosting, Lou.